Much. We'll now take a couple questions each. Reuters, Andrea, you got the first question.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chancellor Scholz. Mr. President, I have wanted to ask you about this Nord Stream project that you've long opposed. You didn't mention it just now by name, nor did Chancellor Scholz. Did you receive assurances from Chancellor Scholz today that Germany will in fact pull the plug on this project if Russia invades Ukraine? And did you discuss what the definition of invasion could be? And then Chancellor Scholz, wenn ich Sie fragen darf.
If I may ask you, Chancellor Scholz, you said there was some strategic ambiguity that was needed in terms of sanctions. I just wanted to know whether the sanctions you are envisaging and the EU is working on, and the US as well, are already finished, finalized, or is there still work ongoing? And you're not really saying what the details are. Is that just an excuse for Germany maybe to not support the SWIFT measures?
The first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Thank you very much for your question. I want to be absolutely clear. We have intensively prepared everything to be ready with the necessary sanctions if there is a military aggression against Ukraine. And this is necessary. It is necessary that we do this in advance so that Russia can clearly understand that these are far-reaching, severe measures. It is part of this process that we do not spell out everything in public, because Russia could understand that there might be even more to come. And at the same time, it is very clear we are well prepared with far-reaching measures. We will take these measures together with our allies, with our partners, with the US, and we will take all necessary steps. You can be sure that there won't be any measures in which we have a differing approach. We will act together, jointly.
Say to our American friends, we will be united. We will act together, and we will take all the necessary steps, and all the necessary steps will be done by all of us together.
Today to turning off and pulling the plug on Nord Stream 2? You didn't mention it. You haven't mentioned it.
As I already said, we are acting together. We are absolutely united, and we will not taking different steps. We will do the same steps, and they will be very, very hard to Russia, and they should understand.
You recognize someone now, Chancellor?
Herr Fischer.
Ja. Michael Fischer, dpa, vielen Dank.
Michael Fischer, dpa. Mr. President, one question to you. The US, over the last few years, have exported heavy weapons to Ukraine, and Germany excludes that, has only delivered 5,000 helmets to Ukraine. Don't you think that NATO should act unanimously in this respect? And Germany, as the strongest European NATO partner, should also deliver heavy weapons to Ukraine. And Ukraine has asked Germany to do so. And on Nord Stream 2, I would also like to ask, don't you think with regard to the threat posed by Russia, Germany should already rethink its position on Nord Stream 2? And the third question, if I may, over the last few days and weeks, there has been severe criticism from the US media and from Congress as well, vis-à-vis Germany, about the reliability of Germany as an ally. This has been called into question. Do you understand this criticism? Is Germany a reliable partner from your point of view? And Mr. Chancellor, also a question to you, Nord Stream 2. You said all options are on the table. You're not mentioning Nord Stream 2 by name. Don't you think if you were to spell this out, you could win back trust as a strong ally here for the US?
There's no need to win back trust. He has the complete trust of the United States. Germany is one of our most important allies in the world. There is no doubt about Germany's partnership with the United States, none. With regard to helping Ukraine, one of the largest contributors financially to Ukraine has been Germany. Germany has been in the forefront of making sure of providing economic assistance. You also asked the question, you asked so many, I can't remember them all, but in terms of the U.S. media saying Germany is not reliable, Germany's completely reliable, completely, totally, thoroughly reliable. I have no doubt about Germany at all.
Wir sind eng verbunden.
We are united, and the transatlantic partnership between Germany and the US is one of the permanent pillars of German policy, and it will be relevant in the future as well, just as relevant. And this will be one of our top priorities always. On behalf of NATO, we are the country in continental Europe that is making the largest contribution, financial means and also military power. And we are the country that contributes a great share. We don't fully agree with the US who pays the biggest part of financial support to Ukraine. Since 2014, about $2 billion direct bilateral support, and within the EU, an additional 3.8 billion that is made available. So substantial financial means to stabilize the Ukrainian economy, and we are willing to continue with that sort of contribution. So this is the very strong and unbreakable friendship between our two countries. Part of this is that with regard to the difficult situation at the Ukrainian border due to the Russian troops, we have made it very clear we will unanimously act in terms of sanctions. Mr. President, once again, a question with regard to arms exports. Do you think it is okay that NATO partners have different approaches here? And on Nord Stream 2, once again, do you think the current positioning of Germany with regard to the Russian threat is okay?
Look, there is no doubt in America's mind that Germany is an incredibly reliable ally and one of the leading physical powers in NATO, number one. Number two, the notion that Nord Stream 2 would go forward with an invasion by the Russians is just not going to happen. Now, Wall Street Journal, Sabrina?
Thank you, Mr. President. Based on everything you know now, do you think that President Putin will authorize an invasion of Ukraine before the end of the winter? And what is your message to the roughly 30,000 Americans who are currently in Ukraine? Do you think that they should leave the country?
Well, I've had numerous discussions with the Russians, and particularly with Putin. I don't know that he's even I don't know that he knows what he's going to do. And I think he has to realize that it would be a gigantic mistake for him to move on Ukraine. The impact on Europe and the rest of the world would be devastating, and he would pay a heavy price. I have been very, very straightforward and blunt with President Putin, both on the phone and in person. We will impose the most severe sanctions that have ever been imposed, economic sanctions. And there will be a lot to pay for that down the road. It will affect others as well. It will affect us somewhat, it will affect Europeans, but it will have profound impact on his economy. And but I don't know. I know that he's in a position now to be able to invade, almost assuming that the ground is frozen above Kyiv. He has the capacity to do that. What he's going to do, I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows but him.
To the Americans who are currently in Ukraine, should they leave the country?
I think it'd be wise to leave the country. I'm not talking about our diplomatic corps. I'm talking about Americans who are there. I hate to see them get caught in a crossfire if in fact they did invade. And there's no need for that. And if I had anyone there, I'd say leave.
And to Chancellor Scholz, can you outline specific steps that Germany is taking to reduce its energy dependence on Russia? And what do you say to those who suggest that German reliance on Russian gas is limiting Europe's options for how to respond to the crisis in Ukraine?
Schönen Dank für die Frage.
Thank you very much for raising that question, because it gives me the opportunity to address a topic that's important to me. One good news, maybe, within its strategy on fighting man-made climate change, Germany has decided in a very short period of time to phase out of the use of oil and gas by very soon. And by 2045, Germany will have a carbon neutral economy as one of the strongest economies of the world. And with regard to these energies, we often think about heating at home and driving a car, but we're talking about industrial production, producing steel, chemical substances, cement. And changing these industrial processes and reorganizing such systems is what we have planned. So this year we will continue to take far-reaching decisions that will help us to use more wind energy, offshore wind energy, onshore wind energy, and solar energy, and expand the capacities, expand the grids, and have a strategy for Germany, but also worldwide, on the use of hydrogen, which is a central element for us to change our industrial processes that are using oil and gas right now. The industry is willing to be on board. We're doing this together with them, but it will probably be the biggest industrial modernization project in Germany in 100 years, with very good prospects that we will develop new technologies that other partners in the world can use as well. And this will help us fight climate change. And by the way, the energy mix today, we are talking about 1/4 of our energy that is linked to gas. And only part of that gas comes from Russia. A big part comes from Norway or the Netherlands. And of course, it is very important to us that we develop an infrastructure that will give us the opportunity to have all options available and react if needed. So you don't have to be concerned. There are some who should be concerned, who see themselves maybe too much as a deliverer of such resources. Because we are focusing on renewable energies. We will go down that path and make sure that this is the profitable future.
Also, Herr Rinke.
Mr. Rinken.
Herr Präsident,
Mr. President, I would like to ask you a question about LNG. Germany and Europe are much more dependent on Russian gas than other regions of the world. And you promised European allies to help with LNG, but this resource is more expensive. It's not available in the volumes that might be needed to replace Russian gas. And I would like to know from you how you would help Europeans in case of a conflict with Russia. Is this an empty promise, or what can you really do? What can you offer? And in addition, the US are buying oil from Russia worth billions of dollars, and I would like to know whether these transfers are also part of the sanctions package against Russia. And Mr. Chancellor, liquefied natural gas, there is a big controversy in Germany about fracking gas. And how far is LNG even a real replacement, or is it also with a view to the climate club you intend to found? Is it really an alternative to Russian pipeline gas?
Let me respond First of all, we are looking at opportunities to make up for lost gas, LNG, from Russia. We're underway of trying to see what we can do to do that, dealing with our friends around the world as well. We think we could make up a significant portion of it that would be lost. But you know, what everybody forgets here is Russia needs to be able to sell that gas and sell that oil. Russia relies, a significant part of Russia's budget, it's the only thing they really have to export. And if in fact it's cut off, then they're going to be hurt very badly as well. And it's of consequence to them as well. This is not just a one-way street. And so we are looking at what we could do to help compensate for immediate loss of gas in Europe if it occurs. And that's what we've been working on for some time now.
Ich bestätige zunächst mal, dass wir
I can confirm that we work closely with the United States of America. And Joe Biden and I are working closely together as well. We are prepared for all kinds of situation, and that's part of what we do when we say we prepare sanctions. That means we need to be able to react at any time, and this is happening. With regard to the use of LNG, I can say that the biggest volume of LNG used across the world is gas, and that is part of the debate. Concerning a long-term perspective, I already outlined what this is about. We will modernize our economy, and where gas is being used, we will switch to hydrogen. This will be a process that will happen faster than many might imagine today, and that will create a bright future for all of us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes.
Given that there are 100,000 people.
The answer is yes.